All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this very, very special Super Bowl preview episode. Before we'd like to begin, I'd like to just add a necessity or play this necessary song. I feel like that needs to come out before we do this to make this sound more credible. Let me just, sorry, real quick. Play, dude, what the hell? Yes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the official NFL on BCI preview show. Brought to you in part by HEADPHONE Warning. Always there for you whenever you need it. First, we have to be talking much for himself. Elijah Colton is over. Elijah, what are you doing right now?
Really good.
Awesome. Okay, let me just pause this. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Elijah. Introduce yourself.
What's up? I'm Elijah. I'm a part of the same BCIT grad class at Mosen. I also host
Absolutely.
my own basketball podcast, Talking Buckets, and I'm stoked to be here.
Good job, good job. Now we're going to go to the 49ers PR, Mr. Quentin Quads himself, Josh Rice. Talk to me, Josh. Talk to the audience.
Dude, it's going to be a long night. I'm going to have to talk a lot of smack about the Rams. It kind of tore me apart last week, but yeah, happy to be here. Going to try not to shed too many tears, but we'll see how it goes.
Awesome stuff. I'm wearing glasses for my Seahawks, by the way. That's the only reason why I'm rocking glasses. Mr. Dragon Energy, Matt Klein. Talk to us about your football expertise.
Oh yeah. Well, first of all, what's up, football nerds? Good to see you all again. Want to talk some Super Bowl predictions and just recap the season. I'm excited to get going. It's nice to talk about football. You know, when I first started getting into football, I just had no one. There was no one around to talk to about it. You know, it was like,
yeah, we live in igloos. To the one person in America watching, to the bot. Shout out to the bot. Go ahead, Matt.
Dude, it was just quarantine everywhere. You know, no one was around. I only had like hockey nerds to talk to, and that was it. You know, it can be a tough life sometimes up here in Canada when people aren't diversified enough. So
it can be tough when your main source of football is the CFL. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, before we start, I mean the Bengals and the Rams in the Super Bowl. Bengals and the Rams in the Super Bowl. I'm not playing around. I mean, who would have thought? I mean, when I was first thinking about this, I was like, okay, before the season started, I had Tom Brady because, you know, he's Tom Brady and the Chiefs. We're going to have a back-to-back. Who'd you guys have? Talk to me about you guys' predictions before this year's Super Bowl. Who you guys think was gonna make it all the way?
I had the Bills and the Bucks. That was my Super Bowl
That was close.
prediction. And then once playoffs started, I had Bengals and 49ers. So I was kind of close. I was one win away. But no, start of the season, I had Bills and Bucks.
What about you, Elijah? Talk to me.
So I didn't really have a Super Bowl prediction per se coming into the season, but my main takeaway, like the conference championships from last year, were Chiefs and Bills and Packers and Bucks. And coming into this season, to me, like that top four, I was like, that's still very clear the top four. I didn't really feel like there was much change at the hierarchy. I feel like, so I was kind of right about that for the regular season. Then the playoffs happened. Packers and Bucks obviously didn't do so hot in the divisional round. And then the Chiefs and the Bills, they met in the divisional round, and everyone was like, that's the real Super Bowl. But then the Chiefs, they choked away their game in the AFC Championship. So yeah, I definitely did not see this coming.
Yeah, no one did. Matt, talk to me about you and when you had your thoughts about the Super Bowl. Who'd you think?
Well, first of all, I think that there's two things that come to my mind when I think of who can actually repeat, who can do as good of a job, if not better, the following season as they do after coming off of a Super Bowl victory. And the two biggest things that caught my eye, well, first of all, Tampa Bay was able to retain Tom Brady. They were able to retain most of the players. And if not, they were able to get better. They were able to get better from last year into this year because they were able to not only retain the players, but they were also changed the way that they allowed the players on their team to do better. So I had definitely the Buccaneers to repeat, because if Tom Brady can get settled in on a second year, he's probably going to be even better. I'm completely ignoring the age factor because clearly throughout last season and the year before that, the age was never a factor. It was never a factor of is he going to slow down, because he never was. So let's just throw that out the window. And then I also had the Buffalo Bills as well. I think they're the most complete team in the AFC. And I would personally rather have Josh Allen on my team than Patrick Mahomes because Josh Allen is just more versatile and he can do more. And I think that the Chiefs certainly. I found it hilarious when the season started and people were already rooting out the Chiefs. I think that's just ridiculous. I have to respect them as well.
No, you can't root out Patrick Mahomes, who's his whole career has been AFC Championship every year, right? Minimum. Every single
he's
year.
Never not made an AFC Championship.
He's never not made it to the AFC Championship, and you're gonna bet against Patrick Mahomes.
I want to say that he's either 8-3 or 9-3 in the playoffs. And 2 of those losses have been overtime, and then the one was the Super Bowl when he didn't have an O-line. So.
Yeah, I mean, this whole Chiefs thing's interesting, but who would have thought? I mean, you've got the Bengals. First of all, they beat the Raiders, which is, I mean, that was kind of coming to a certain extent. And then the Titans and the freaking Chiefs, top 2 AFC seed, back to back. And then you've got the Rams, who go from a team that's led by Jared Goff and a couple other guys, obviously Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald and whatnot. But suddenly their GM decides to play my league and grabs Von Miller and Odell in a single season. And here we are for now Sunday's game. Talk to me about who you guys have taking this whole thing. Josh, I know you're very emotional with your 49ers, as I am with the Seahawks. So talk to me about who's going to win and why are the Rams going to get blown out by 4 touchdowns?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm all in on Joe Shiesty, Joe Burr, whatever you want to call him. But, I don't know, man. I don't have faith. I think the Rams are going to take it. They're pay to win. Their future's not looking bright after this season, maybe next year, but I think the Rams take it by like 3 or maybe a touchdown. Fingers crossed, though. Who day? Go Bengals, but I think the Rams end up taking it in the end.
So you're hating on the Rams, but
I'm hating on the Rams. I'm cheering for the Bengals, but I think the Rams end up taking it.
Your heart says one thing, but your mind says another. Elijah, what does your heart say? Or sorry, what your mind say, I guess, because clearly that's 2 different things.
So just to preface this, I'm also a Seahawks fan and certified Rams hater. I've been following the Seahawks since like Matt Hasselbeck with the super ugly blue unis in the mid 2000s. And obviously, you could not pay me to ever cheer for the Rams in a million years. I think I've convinced myself to where I can take the Bengals. I think the main edge that the Bengals have over the Rams are the skill position. Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp, they cancel each other out. I do feel like you go down the wide receiver 2 onwards on the Bengals, they have a big advantage there compared to the Rams for their wide receiver depth. Tight ends are kind of even. Running backs, I'd definitely give it to Joe Mixon. So they're like Bengals are elite at skill positions. I think really it's going to come down though to like whether the Bengals defense can stay hot. Because you looked at it like, yeah, they beat the Raiders, but they got stopped in the red zone multiple times by like a historically bad red zone defense in the Raiders. And then the Titans, they get sacked 9 times, but their defense keeps them in and gets 3 picks. And then the Chiefs, they're down big, but the Bengals hold the Chiefs to 3 points in the second half. I don't think anyone thought they were like a great defense coming in, but they're red hot right now. So I think if the Bengals defense can stay hot, I think this is going to be a really close game. I'm going to say Bengals are going to win it like they have last 2 games, walk-off field goal from them back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Team Bengals, Team AFC. Hallelujah.
McPherson, buddy. Shooter McPherson.
Yes. Yeah, shout out to the kicker, by the way. Matt, so are you team Matt Stafford, or are you team, I guess, Jared Goff, because he's probably punching the air right now?
Well, I certainly like to keep it such that I have no partiality in the NFL, because I do like Odell, Jalen Ramsey, he's my guy. But I just don't think it's going to go the Rams way this year. I have a feeling that the Bengals are just probably going to win because they've had more time to play together, to work on their offense. I think the Rams offense, they're a little suspect. I think the Bengals have they've been playing as good, if not better, than the Rams on D. I think that the Rams defense wasn't really spectacular against the 49ers, and the stage is even bigger now. Like it's Super Bowl 56. I think they're going to choke like the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs should have won last year, and they choked as well. So pretty much what I think, I think like the Rams, they're, I mean, they almost got out defended. If Jaquaski Tart made that interception, I pretty much think that the 49ers would have made it if that were the case. But I mean, I know Josh, you canceled your you canceled your Jaquaski Tart jersey order that minute, right? I have a feeling.
I'm just watching Josh's reaction to this whole 49ers dismantling my Matt.
I literally, the ball's in the air. I'm like, holy frick. I'm like going nuts. And then I just like fell over and like started crying. I was like,
yep, I bet, man. But
dude,
on the bright
my grandma
side,
could have caught that ball.
Yeah.
On the bright side, hey, AD did not have a single tackle. He only had 3 assists. And the Rams, they didn't sack Jimmy either. I think Trayvon Howard got that easy pick, but it was super lucky because he was in the right place at the right time. I don't think the Rams are going to rely on Troy Reader for leading the way in tackles again for LA either. I think that the Bengals, because they had 4 sacks against Mahomes and 2 interceptions, I think Cincinnati is just a better defense. Again, they've been playing better together as a team. I think the rookie, what's his name? Logan Wilson. I think he's been playing really well. I think Sam Hubbard's been playing spectacular as well. And honestly, like the Chiefs have been getting better on defense, but they should have stuffed Burrow last week or 2 weeks ago, and they didn't. And I know that the O-line for the Bengals hasn't had its troubles, and that's probably like a glaring issue. Everyone thinks, oh, Joe Burrow's been sacked the most times than any quarterback. So of course he's going to get sacked a bunch by Vaughn and by like all the guys on the D line for the Rams, AD. But I think it's going to depend on how well Burrow can get the ball out of the pocket. He's just got to be super quick, and that's just going to come back to my first point, saying that he has more time. He's had the whole season. He knows his receivers. I'm pretty sure Joe Mixon is going to be completely invisible unless he gets out of the backfield, because they're not going to be able to run anything with him. And honestly, the LA offense, my last point, the LA offense is super suspect. Okay. So,
super suspect with Cooper Kupp, Matt Stafford, and Odell Beckham. Super suspect. Go ahead.
Super
go ahead.
suspect.
Talk to
all
us
right.
about it.
My goodness, bro. Okay, so the Rams have had like half a dozen games with Odell, right? Is Tyler Higbee coming back? So I don't know about you, but I don't want to see Ben Skronik. I don't want to see Kendall Bland ever again, right? And not to mention how they're completely shoehorning in Cam Akers. Okay, he tore his ACL or his Achilles in July. You do not recover in 5 months. I think Sony Michel is a way better fit in this scenario. I'm not saying he's better than Cam Akers, but I think they're completely shoehorning in Cam Akers, and they should have just stuck with Sony Michel like they did ever since they acquired him, because it's so stupid. Your Achilles does not heal in 5 months. Like it's just not a good idea. I think final score.
Final score, is that what you guys want to do? Final score too? Okay, Matt, talk to us before you give yours. You
final
give yours.
Score, probably like, oh man, I want to say 27-24 for Cincinnati. But okay. I don't think McPherson is going to get a game-winning field goal, but he'll get a few, because I mean, my goodness,
he's had McPherson's going to score all the points in the game.
He's been scoring 12 points a game. Like he actually has been scoring 12 points a game, plus points after touchdown.
So I'll give my take, and then I guess we'll go to let's go to Elijah and Josh's score predictions. Elijah, what's your score? Do you have a blowout, or do you think it's going to be tight?
I'm going to say 21-18 Bengals, with Money Mac walking it off their win.
That's pretty conservative. That's pretty okay. 21-18.
I just feel like this is the type for the Bengals to win. They're going to have to frustrate the Rams, and I think that's why it's going to be a lower scoring game if the Bengals are able to win.
Okay, Josh, talk to me about the lone Rams predictor.
It pains me to say it, man. Like, I'm with Elijah and you. I mean, as a 49ers fan, you don't want to cheer for any team in your division, but I just think they're going to take it, and it's going to be 24-20 Rams, I think.
Okay. Well, Josh, I just want to say I feel bad for leaving you as the lone Rams winner. But my research out of this score, by the way, I just want to preface this by saying, comes out of the National Institute of Casual Fanology. And so with that being said, Joey B all the way, man. All the way. Listen, Cincinnati's going to take this. Not only by 1 touchdown, I got 2 touchdowns. Here's my reasoning for it. When you come back down 21-3 against the Kansas City Chiefs, right? That builds, and like I said, my justifications come from the National Institute of Casual Fanology. So just also bear that in mind with my reasoning here. But 21-3, you beat the top 2 teams in the AFC. Matt Stafford, I mean, the Bucs almost had them. Let's be honest here. If it didn't have come for the, Cooper Kupp play at the end. And then the 49ers, I mean, unfortunately, couldn't really do their thing at that particular moment. And that game was really, really tight. I just think that the Bengals have more mental prowess, I guess, heading into this game, having beaten the Kansas City Chiefs, who are arguably better than the Rams. But I definitely, but I have the Bengals, taking it by at least a touchdown or 2. Let's throw it out. Hopefully, let's go 30-14. That's a pretty, that's ballsy. But anyways, all right. So now we're gonna go off to Super Bowl MVPs. So obviously, I guess all 3 of us, or all 3 of us Bengals predictors, think that probably we have our way as to where we think the MVP is gonna go. Matt, talk to me about who you think Super Bowl MVP is gonna be if the Bengals are gonna take it.
Well, I think I could give a prediction for either team, because certainly that could be the case. And if the Rams do pull this off, I think, contrary to my upcoming dark horse predictions, I do think that Cooper Kupp should not only be the MVP of the Super Bowl if he has another average game, which would be any other casual player's best game of their career. I think Cooper Kupp should be taking home the MVP. A lot of attention has been drawn onto Matt Stafford and Aaron Donald, but I do think that Cooper Kupp is the best player on their team because he's doing what not many receivers could ever dream of doing. I do think that as far as the Cincinnati is concerned, I'm pretty sure that if they do pull off a win on Sunday, which we're really hoping they do, it's going to be because Joe Burrow threw plenty of touchdown passes and he was able to elude all of the pass rush that the Rams brought his way. I do think that that Joe Burrow can most likely pull off the Super Bowl MVP if the Bengals win it.
Yeah. Okay. Elijah, who you got winning a Super Bowl MVP if the Bengals take it?
Okay, so if the Bengals take it, I've got dark horse predictions, by the way, for Super Bowl MVP as well.
Yeah.
But I'll go with the main ones. The easiest for me to say, I think, as well, would be Joe Burrow. I feel like also too sometimes the media can play a part in it, and we're very clearly in like the give Joe Burrow his flowers portion of the season, rightfully so for sure. And if he shows up in the same level of drift that he did for the AFC Championship, then I'll lose that game. No fucking way. He's throwing for 500 yards and 4 touchdowns if he shows up like that again. 100%.
Shout out to the drip.
So for the Bengals, I'd say Joe Burrow for sure. For the Rams, I'm gonna say Aaron Donald, just because I feel like if it's a close game, I'm like 100% convinced the Bengals win. If it's a blowout, I think it'll be the Rams. And if it'll be a blowout, I think that Burrow's gonna get sacked like 8 or 9 times again. And I'm assuming Aaron Donald will probably be responsible for that. So yeah, those are my
maybe just a little bit. I don't know. He's an okay defensive player, right?
Just okay.
He's okay. Josh, talk to me about your Rams scenario. Who's Super Bowl MVP if your prediction goes right?
If the Rams win, the Super Bowl MVP is going to be Cooper Kupp. He's going to get, I guarantee, double-digit targets, probably 8 catches, 100-plus receiving yards for sure. Probably 2 touchdowns, let's be real.
Yeah.
Matt Stafford, I mean, he's going to be throwing to him all those touchdowns, so he could be in the conversation, but I bet Stafford's going to throw another wobbler right up the middle to the safety, and the safety will probably catch it this time. So I'm going with Cooper Kupp. And then the Bengals, I think we all want to see Joey B smoking another cigar after the game, holding an MVP trophy and the Super Bowl trophy. But yeah, Kupp and Burrow, I think, are the 2 favorites for me.
The drip, huh? It's been a common common theme that we're bringing up here. Shout out to Joe Burrow's drip. Yeah, Super Bowl MVP. I'm typical Joe Burrow. I think that he's a lot of the reason why you've gotten to the Super Bowl. Even in football, I mean, the most important position is the quarterback position, and if you don't have someone who's a formidable leader, then I don't think you're getting to that point. And plays a big role as to why Jamar Chase and the rest of the crew are doing good. So I've got on that end. And you know what? Screw it. I'll show some love to Matt Stafford. It's quarterback day today. How about Matt Stafford winning Super Bowl MVP potentially if the Rams can manage to pull it off? I think that he played a big part as to why the Rams got over the hump. Getting rid of Jared Goff for him. So those two are my predictions. Now, dark horses. I feel like this is an interesting scenario every single time you're in the finals because there's always that one player that you don't know. You're not aware of it at first as to whether or not he's going to do well, and then suddenly shifts the game. Malcolm Butler, unfortunately, with me and Elijah's scenario, we have our memories there of that dark horse. I'll start off with my dark horse. You know what, Matt? I want to call you out. I don't appreciate this Odell slander. I really don't. I think if the Rams are going to do something, all this attention on Cooper Kupp, he arguably MVP of the league this season. I get it. But I think that a dark horse, because there isn't that much attention on Odell, as much as, when he played with the Browns, played with the Giants, I think Odell has a legit shot of probably shocking some people.
Attention on the Browns.
Huh?
He had no attention on the Browns.
I don't know, man.
Every day.
I'm talking about media attention.
Oh, yeah. Fair enough.
I don't know.
Didn't have a real quarterback there.
Yeah. Shout out to Baker Mayfield if you're watching.
Can Odell run the ball?
Hey, I'm not sleeping on Odell. Listen, I think Odell's a dark horse on the Rams. I feel like not a lot of attention's going his way. And Cooper Kupp is really the star wide receiver. And considering how things have gone so far, I feel like he's done a really good job being a second option on the team. So he's a dark horse on my end. And then I don't know, is Logan Wilson a dark horse? Is he? Like, do we count Logan Wilson as a dark horse? I think maybe I'll give him. He's my dark horse. But now that I'm thinking about, I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think that's fine, personally.
Logan Wilson's okay. Then Logan Wilson's my dark horse, I guess. Logan Wilson, shout out to you. Josh, who's your dark horse for your Rams team?
Dark horse for the Rams. Like, I don't even know if this counts. Like, is Von Miller a dark horse? Like, I don't know.
For sure.
Super Bowl MVP. Maybe.
He's big on the big stage. I don't know, man. Like,
he's a dark horse because he just blends into that defense, and then you kind of forget that he's there.
exactly.
Like AD, there's too much credit to go around. Everybody, you can't split a tackle 7 ways, but they're there and they're doing their thing. So.
I mean, the Bengals O-line is atrocious, so they're going to have to triple team Aaron Donald. So, I mean, Vaughn's probably going to get a sack or two in the game. But, yeah, if that counts as a dark horse, I guess I go with Vaughn for the Rams. And then the Bengals, I got 2. On offense, I'm going Tyler Boyd, their third string receiver. I think he might have a big game. I think a lot of attention is going to go to Jamar and T. Higgins, and I think Boyd might break out 5 catches for 108 or something. And
yeah, Burrow likes him as a red zone target as well.
Dude, he's
more so than Higgins, even though Higgins I think had more yards this season.
Boyd needs to get a lot more credit. I think he's done a lot with that team, and their whole receiver core. I mean, they're all under 26.
Yeah, no, they have the
young
skill positions that the Bengals have the clear edge at, especially wide receiver.
100%. And then Bengals D-line, Trey Hendrickson, man, I love that guy. He's a stud, man. I think he's going to get a couple sacks this game. I got big things coming for Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah, those are some solid dark horses to think of. Elijah, talk to me about who you think is going to show out.
Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of a different angle here. My dark horse, specifically in terms of matchups, because everyone's talking about, Joe Burrow versus Matt Stafford, the Rams D-line versus the Bengals O-line, right? I think one that's equally important, though, is going to be Jamar Chase versus Jalen Ramsey, who we haven't even talked about Ramsey, really. Ramsey is one of the best corners in the league and one of the few people that is potentially capable of playing mano a mano with Jamar Chase. But at the same time, Jamar is someone that you need to double. But also, too, the Bengals, one of their favorite ways to line up their wide receivers, especially with the AFC Championship game as well. They like to put Chase on one side and then all their other wide receivers on the other. So Higgins, Boyd, if they're using Uzama or Pirine, him, because it presents them a dilemma. Either you double chase, but then you're obviously lopsided on the other side for defense, or you single him, but then you run the risk of Jamar Chase breaking a tackle because he's very capable of that. So I think, to me, like the dark horse, the matchup is going to be Jamar Chase versus Jalen Ramsey, because I think depending on how that goes early, it could really make or break the game. And honestly, like depending on how well they both play, like I'd give both of them an outside shot at a winning Super Bowl MVP as well.
Offensive Rookie in the Year and Super Bowl MVP.
Dang.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Elijah's
If
going for it today, huh?
Jamar is equally capable of going for 150 and 2 TDs as Cooper Kupp is. Obviously can break tackles, and he's fantastic running off of screen plays as well. So he could very easily, I think, have a crazy game as well. But obviously, Ramsey, this is going to be the biggest test of his career, and I think he could step up to the challenge. And if he does, like, he's got to get a lot of credit for sure.
Yeah, Jalen Ramsey, we didn't seem to bring him up. Aaron Donald, Cooper Kupp, Odell, Matt Stafford got one mention, and then Jalen Ramsey was left out. But that's a solid dark horse to pick, I guess, because they've got a really talented team over at in Los Angeles. Matt, talk to me about your dark horses, bro.
Absolutely, dude. It's going to be a very interesting Super Bowl, and I really hope that we see some variety of action from a lot of players that maybe we haven't seen a whole lot, or maybe players that we know could break out, that maybe they just don't get the opportunity. And it is very, very, very difficult in football because you want to drop the play and then you want to execute, and if it doesn't, then it's very difficult to compromise as well and just throw to whoever's open. So I think, having said that, I do agree with what you were saying, Elijah, about how Jalen Ramsey and Jamar Chase are probably going to be at each other's throats. And looking on the other side of that, I do think that a dark horse for Cincinnati could be Eli Apple or Jesse Bates or whoever is going to be hopefully putting the clamps on Cooper Kupp, because Eli Apple had 6 tackles, and I'm hoping half of those were actually against Tyreek Hill a couple weeks ago. So I do think that Eli Apple could be a dark horse. I think he could come up with a pick and plenty of tackles as well. I also think a possibility could be CJ Uzama, because I was thinking about what you were saying, Josh, when you were saying that Jamar Chase is going to have a whole lot of pressure because he's probably going to be the number 1 target, which is going to also put pressure on T. Higgins. So therefore, Tyler Boyd might be, the best option sometimes. Maybe, who knows? He's an excellent deep threat. But I also think that CJ Uzama could turn into that kind of auxiliary Gronkowski / Dawson Knox kind of player, where he's open, he's using his body, he's using his legs, and who knows, maybe CJ Uzama could get a couple touchdowns in the Super Bowl. And then for LA, I think kind of to go on to what you were saying, Mohammed, about how Odell Beckham could most certainly be a dark horse, and I completely agree with you. I don't think that he's the key to the Rams' offense crumbling. I think that their inconsistency and their unfamiliarity is the key to their offense inconsistency, because I very much appreciate Odell, and I'm very entertained by his ability to find the end zone almost on a weekly basis now, which is, great. I mean, I'm pretty sure the whole NFL world can appreciate that now, because they have been completely deprived of that since the Giants days. So I'm looking at either Odell as a dark horse or Van Jefferson, whoever is additionally open, especially Jefferson has those deep threat abilities that Cooper Kupp has been getting, all of them, and he's been executing them. So as much as Cooper Kupp is going to get targeted, I do think that there's going to be possibly late minute doubles on him, leading guys like Jefferson and Beckham open as well. So I think that that's also a possibility as well, especially Higgins if he even ends up playing, or Higbee, pardon me, if he plays as well.
Interesting take. Yeah, but I guess it's crazy to say. I mean, who would have thought a couple years ago, Von Miller, Odell Beckham, Jalen Ramsey, dark horses in a Super Bowl. What the heck is going on here, man? I thought you'd think that these guys are going to take you to the Super Bowl. Now we're making them dark horses. That's insane. Listen, so, moving forward, I guess the biggest question a lot of people have is, how long will this run sustain? What's sort of, how long are the Bengals going to, is this sort of a fluke? Is this something that either can repeat? So I guess the question that I want to ask is, who's more likely to win the Super Bowl in the years to come? Either Bengals or the Rams. I mean, let's start off. Matt, you had the ball rolling with the last question. Talk to me about who you think has the most potential of repeating.
Well, I think right now it's easy to see Cincinnati growing and getting better. I do think that in the long run, they certainly have a lot more upside. Their ceiling is way higher than the Rams. I think that the Rams can either stay as good as they are right now or go down or change up their team. It's all going to depend on the continuity going into next season. Like I mentioned at the beginning, that's one of the reasons why I had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as being the favorites to pull off a back-to-back, because they were able to retain the most important players on their team, if not all of them, and perhaps get better. I don't know if the Rams can possibly get better. I don't think that there's any room on the roster for them to improve unless they switch some things up and maybe fill in at a couple areas like safety or tight end. But I do think that the Rams can win the most now. But I think if I were investing in a team and if I had enough money to own a team right now, I'd probably invest in Cincinnati.
Matt is looking at this like a stock market. He wants to go invest in the next Cincinnati Bengals crypto NFT program. Josh, talk to me about who you think is going to have the best future that doesn't involve investing advice.
Next 10 years, it's going to be the Bengals, man. They have a very young team. They have a lot of draft capital coming up. And I mean, what do the Rams have? They don't have a first round pick for the next 2 years, 3 years? Like, they have nothing in the draft. They're about 17 million over the cap right now for next season, I think. And you have to re-sign Odell, who's probably going to bring in a good sum of cash. You have to re-sign Vaughn. Like, I don't know. I don't think they have enough draft capital. They're going to lose some key players this year. And the Bengals, a lot of people on rookie contracts and a lot of people already under long-term contracts, like Joe Mixon. Trey Hendrickson's already signed for another 4 years, I think. So I mean, next decade, give me the Bengals.
Give him the Bengals for next decade. I see you, bro. Elijah, talk to me about who you think who's more likely to win the Super Bowl after this year, Rams or Bengals?
So I think there's two different ways of looking at it. I think obviously the deeper into the future you go, probably the more likely it is that the Bengals would be able to stay relevant versus the Rams. But in terms of like short term, like I think like next year or 2 years or even 3 years later, honestly, I could see the Rams being more competitive for Super Bowls than the Bengals. They've obviously don't have any draft capital right now, like you said, but they haven't had draft capital in like 3 or 4 years. They've been trading like every single asset that they've had. And when they run out, they just keep trading the ones that are 5-6 years away, and it made it work. They stayed competitive. They were in the Super Bowl like 3-4 years ago. So what's to say they can't keep it going? And then I think also too, the one thing that's really getting overlooked right now, next season the conferences are going to be really lopsided in favor of the AFC. The AFC is going to have the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens, the Bengals, and the Chargers, all with like elite quarterbacks. And there's probably a couple other teams I'm missing with good situations too. Obviously, the Titans could be back, maybe a couple other teams I'm missing. But I look at the NFC right now, and the NFC South is garbage now with Sean Payne retiring and Tom Brady retiring, and the other two teams being rebuilt. They're all rebuilding, basically. The NFC East is going to stay trash again. Like, I think the Dallas Cowboys have probably hit their ceiling. They'll be division champs with another 11-6 or 12-5 record and probably get bounced in the wild card again. And the NFC North, really, like, if Rodgers goes to an AFC team, that division I think is garbage too, unless Chicago takes a big step forward. Because Detroit's still rebuilding. Minnesota, they're kind of in purgatory.
Yeah.
The Packers, obviously, like Jordan Love is not the answer for that. And then I'm not totally sold on Chicago's coach that they hired either, considering he's defensive minded. Like, really, the only strong division in the NFC to me is the West. I think it's a legitimate possibility that all 4 teams in the NFC West make the playoffs next year. So I think just because of how lopsided the conferences are in the short term, I do think the Rams are more likely to go back to the Super Bowl because especially if Rodgers leaves for an AFC team, like the Rams should have a cakewalk to the 1 seed.
Yeah. I just this lighting, by the way, for those watching, almost made me shed tears. So it made me seem like I was crying at every single take. I promise you, I'm not that emotionally invested in football. So listen, the Seahawks connection is real, Elijah. I really believe it because that's my take on the whole situation. I think, if this were a stock, like the Wolf of Wall Street here, Matt Klein mentioned, I would probably say that I'd probably bet on the Bengals. But in terms of short term, I mean, AFC, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes,
Mac Jones.
Chargers, huh?
Mac Jones.
Mac
Yeah, the
Jones.
Pats. I didn't even mention the Pats.
Mac Jones. We didn't mention the Patriots. The whole AFC is stacked. And then what do you have in the NFC? You have a Tom Brady who retired. I mean, outside of the Seahawks, who are going to go 18, 16-0, and they're going to just destroy everyone. But outside of that scenario,
Trey Lance, baby, Trey Lance.
Sorry?
Yeah, I mean, I was
Trey Lance.
Trey Lance could maybe take a step up.
Shout out to the 49ers too. Listen, outside, no comment, man. No comment. Oh look. What's the Niners? What's he doing?
He's getting a Lance jersey. I already know it.
Is he grabbing one? Oh gosh. Oh, he talks in dozens of jerseys. That's one. That's two.
The only jersey I have as well.
That's one sec. That's Josh One Feld. That's yeah.
Dedicated, I'll give you that. Nice
Good gosh.
jersey.
That's three. How much is that?
No, that's 4 or 5.
Oh my gosh.
Damn.
Dang, that's dedication.
That's the ones we got on campus right now.
Guys, Josh spent one semester's worth of tuition on jerseys. I'm really
home, man. There's another 10 49er jerseys at home.
Josh spent all that. Listen,
this guy was born in Silicon Valley.
I didn't pay for the premium Zoom, so we got 2 minutes and 20 seconds left for this. But here's what I have to say. The Rams, they threw the kitchen sink this year. And I think that's going to last them 2 years before they realize, wow, we screwed up in terms of trading all these draft picks and doing all of that. So I think they're going to figure it out, especially if they win in that scenario. But I think short term, the Rams are probably in a better position because the question was, who's more likely to repeat a Super Bowl, not be competitive? Competitive, absolutely the Bengals. But to win a Super Bowl and to get to the Super Bowl, I don't know how much competition there is in the NFC. But then again, Von Miller and Odell Beckham and the rest of the crew we never imagined them going to the Rams and this whole thing. So anyways, we've got 90 seconds left. Do we want to say, is there anything we want to mention here? 49ers jersey advice, financial advice, Seahawks.
Predictions on the Seahawks next year? Because I want to know. I want to know if they're any good.
18-0. 18-0. Every single game.
Watch a single game.
11-6.
I wanted to watch
11
them,
and
but
6. I think it's an
they were
accurate
just so
prediction.
brutal
Our
to
home
watch.
schedule's a fucking
Undefeated.
cakewalk now. Considering how dog shit the NFC South became over the last week. 11-6, I'm gonna say.
And we haven't even finished the season
yet.
yet.
That was terrible.
Josh, talk to me about your prediction about the Niners.
Dude, Trey Lance to the moon, buddy. Trey Lance
to the moon. Okay.
Trey Lance, those deep shots to Debo.
Matt, who do you have? Matt, what do you think the Seahawks are going to do, and why are they going to go undefeated?
Oh well, I hope that the Seahawks have a better year, mostly because they have this player. I don't know if anyone noticed him, but
if this thing expires, let's hop on a new link. 1 sec. This is
Seahawks have a player that's very hard to miss, but they keep missing him, and they decided to not throw the ball to DK Metcalf at all this year.
Yeah, I don't know why DK Metcalf only gets one target.
Hopefully they figure that out instead of just stat padding him at the beginning and the end of the year and throwing him 2 targets, 2 catches for 100 yards. But hey, if they win, then they win, and they did.
Undefeated this year. Pete Carroll, listen, 2015, we'll forget about it. I'll forget about it. Go undefeated, and that's all that matters. Okay, I'll just stop the recording.